Welcome to Trailblazing Women. I'm Sandra Mass, and today it's all about the power of music. Trailblazer Juanita Davis uses it to motivate, uplift, empower, and heal herself and others.
We work with cancer patients, we work with children, we work with people who are trying to recover from addiction, we work with people who are experiencing depression, and it's a magical tool that everybody has. That's the good news.
She has graced the world with her beautiful voice for decades as a member of the popular San Diego-based trio known as the Corvelles. Juanita is a mother, wife, actress, model who started her own company, and music therapist. Music, she says, is the key to staying calm during these very turbulent times. That song is on my playlist that I listen to when I do my daily beach walks.
Really?
And I absolutely love it, and I absolutely love you, and it's so wonderful, Juanita, to finally see you in person. Welcome.
Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for having me.
You know, you must really miss performing in front of live audiences. What has it been like for you for the past few months?
I miss it so much, but singing is what I'm automated to, so I don't ever not sing. I'm not singing for an audience, but I have sent out a couple of things to friends who needed some motivation and inspiration, just little clips that I videoed myself. So there's no audience, but I always get a lot of joy from singing, so I do it anyway.
Well, I get a lot of joy from listening to you. Give us an idea, how long have the Corvelles been together? How long have you been with these girls, and how did you meet? How did it come to be?
Well, we're going to call it 20 years. I think it's really 22. We were, the two of us, Stelita Lindgren and myself, auditioning for the same play about 20 years ago, and that's how we met. And she knew the third girl, Letitia Carrington, and she brought her in, and together we get to make magic and to make people happy. So we're very, very excited every time we step onto the stage.
You do make magic, and you've had a lot of success. I know you've opened for the Spinners, and you have met the Supremes. What has that been like?
I met Mary Wilson, and it was one of the great joys of my life because I have watched the Supremes my whole life, and I am so inspired by those ladies. And Diana Ross continues to inspire, and Mary Wilson continues to inspire. Of course, they lost one of the band members, but I got to meet Mary Wilson only a few months ago, and she is as beautiful as ever. Her voice has held up wonderfully, and in about 3 minutes, I got to tell her what an inspiration she's been to me my entire life. And she was so gracious. She stood there and she listened to me. And she was just a wonderful, wonderful woman. I hope to meet Diana Ross one of these days. But in the meantime, we will continue to represent them as well as we can.
You have been singing your whole life. You picked up a microphone, I read, at the age of 3. You grew up in Missouri with a
Yes.
renowned pastor as a father. Did
Yes.
you start singing gospel music, or how did it begin? I know you sing everything from R&B to country to soul. I mean, you've got a huge repertoire.
Yes. Well, my dad, Reverend Joel Kelly Davis Sr., who lived to be 101 years old, was a founding pastor in St. Louis, Missouri. And yes, my first memory is him holding me and holding a microphone to my mouth. And I looked out at the audience and realized that they were big and I was small. That's what I remember. And by the end of the song, I felt bigger. I felt a little bit more power, if you will, power to change the energy of the room in a good way. That's my first memory.
hmm And you have been singing for so long, and it has taken you all over the world, through Europe, through the United States. I mean, you must have met some amazing people, and obviously singing brings you so much joy. You've incorporated it in all ways of your life, and in fact, even helping others.
Yes. You know, when you uplift someone, you help them. People go through a lot to come to concerts. People who don't love crowds still love concerts. What they're paying for is that joy. Everyone needs that joy. Everybody needs to be uplifted. And it's unfortunate that we can't come together for concerts right now, but one of the joys I have in my life is I have the Met Foundation, my own foundation. It's music empowerment therapy. It's teaching people how to empower themselves using the sound of their own voices, whether they like how they sound when they sing or not. It's bringing the realization to people that you can uplift yourself using your own voice. So I'm getting a lot of joy out of that. So having traveled around the world and having sung for different audiences, I love singing in Paris the most because they seem to appreciate it the most. I'm not sure if it was the Josephine Baker era, but it seems like when I get on stage there, they're expecting something incredible, and they give me great feedback. So I do really enjoy singing in Paris and nursing homes. I know that's a big leap, but those people in nursing homes, sometimes they rarely get a visitor. I try and be an inspiration one-on-one. I shake each hand before I leave and thank them for being in the audience, and they appreciate it the most, the Parisians and the seniors.
And I know that you are also a music therapist. You help people that are dealing with stress and anxiety and depression through
Yes.
music. How does that work, and how do you help them?
Well, we have all heard of the chakras in the body, the energy centers, the crown chakra, the third eye, the throat chakra, the heart chakra. We can use our own voices, the sound within our bodies. Our bodies are over 70% water, and we can use sound to open our chakras, which is just energy flow. Everything is energy, as we know. So we can move that water and impact our own health. So we work with cancer patients, we work with children, we work with people who are trying to recover from addiction, we work with people who are experiencing depression, and it's a magical tool that everybody has. That's the good news. And I really enjoy showing people how to use it. And you basically are using vowel sounds and toning. And it's just a really powerful tool that I wish I could teach absolutely every human being how to use, because we all have it. If you have a voice, you have a healing tool.
Mhm. Well, a lot of Americans have been using their voice of late with the protests after the killing of George Floyd. A lot of people are anxious and depressed and uncertain, and music therapy could probably guide them in many ways in that regard. But my question to you is, as an African American woman during this time, what has it been like for you seeing the unrest in the streets and white America waking up and using their voices for the first time in a long time to talk about social justice?
I look forward to the day, Sandra, when we don't have to march anymore. My mom and dad were a big part of the civil rights movement. They helped to host Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. in St. Louis, Missouri. They were part of the Urban League in Missouri, and my dad was part of this Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He really used his life. And by the way, I want to share a beautiful thing with you. My dad lived 101 years. He turned 100 years old on Easter Sunday, and I just don't think that's an accident. I think his life was one of those lives that was meant to be used in a special and impactful way. He reared 10 children. He founded a church, and he and my mother, who had the most beautiful smile in the world, her smile went from her heart to yours. She really made you feel love. They were a dynamic duo of love, of inspiration, of open-heartedness. They had a radio show, and my mother's catchphrase again was designed to inspire you. They inspired. For decades, they inspired. They used their lives to march. And as happy and excited as I am about the march that we're doing now, that it is so inclusive, that people are wide awake now, it saddens me that it's taken this long. We had to be still in order to see and really take in what was going on. You mentioned George Floyd. He was someone's brother, uncle, father, grandfather. He was loved. And that's what we mean when we say his life mattered.
A lot of talk out there about how to be a good ally in this fight for social justice and equal rights. What is your advice? What do you tell your friends? I know you have a lot of friends from all different ethnicities. What do you tell your white friends that are asking you, what can I do to be an ally in this fight?
We do know that it starts with a conversation. America has a heart problem. We hope that heart problem won't be fatal. We each have to help correct the sins of the past. We've all benefited, of course. We all have come to terms with that part of things. Yes, we've all benefited. We know what America's original sin was. We've discussed this enough that we know what's happening. So how to be an ally? I do think it starts with each individual. Obviously, laws change before behavior changes. That is a fact. When we have the conversations, I think what people would like to know is, what do we talk about? Ask someone what it feels like to be a Black person. Maybe ask permission to ask the dumb questions, because I think a lot of people don't feel comfortable having this conversation. They get very quiet, and maybe the Black person ends up doing more of the talking. But in interactive conversations, you'll learn more. So maybe ask for permission to ask the hard questions, the dumb questions. Don't be afraid to offend. Ask the person what their experience has been. Think about the questions that you want to ask and really open your heart to the answers. And then answer this question at the end of that conversation. Answer this question: how would I feel if that was my history, my legacy, my people's story? Sit with it. Think about that, and then formulate your own answers. It's obvious that part of the answer is education.
Let me ask you who your role models were growing up. Obviously, your parents were stellar role models, but who else did you look up to, maybe in popular culture, while you were going up the ladder?
I'm going to have to tell you, Juanita Sr., Juanita Davis, was and is my number one role model. There was also Diane Carroll. You might be surprised to hear Cher. Cher had a flair. Cher and those costumes. I've always loved costumes. I've loved the creative side of things. And so for the same reason, Diana Ross designed her own costumes. She did such an incredible job.
And just talking to you these last few weeks and learning about you and your family. You live here in San Diego County. You're married to a journalist, and you have one son. You coming from 9 siblings, that's a big change. how do you how do you keep the balance in your life? You know, a great family life and an interesting career that has a lot of stresses. I mean, you have so many balls up in the air. What is your advice to other women who are juggling and maybe struggling a little bit right now?
Music therapy is a tool that I have integrated before I get out of bed in the morning. I experience myself head to toe and ask myself what I need. Your system will tell you. And sometimes my mind needs a little adjustment. Sometimes my heart needs a little adjustment. Sometimes my physical self needs a little adjustment. Well, I get myself joyful before I get out of bed. And the way I do that is with gratitude. I can just look at a picture on the wall and be grateful for the day when my mother was here and we shopped together and she chose that picture. I can be grateful for the slippers I'm about to step into. It doesn't need to be anything big, but that's how I start. And then I tend to wake up and I'm in tune with what song I need as my tune-up based on what it is that I do need, whether it's physical or spiritual or mental. So claiming my joy at the beginning of the day is going to be my answer.
Well, Juanita, you have a smile that lights up the world. Last question for you today. What was the song that you woke up to, or what are you carrying with you in your heart to get you through the rest of today?
Oh my goodness. Well, I'll tell you, it's just such an important song that in my childhood, my dad and other pastors who were in community pulled all of their choirs together and had a day of just uplifting music at the church of a minister whose name was Earl Nance. And they taught all of us the Black National Anthem. And now, in light of everything that's going on, it's such an important song. The words are lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. It's resounding very loudly right now. So lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. That's the Black National Anthem. I'm so grateful that that was taught to me.
Juanita Davis, I have chills. That was so beautiful. It is such a pleasure to meet you. And I cannot wait to see you in person and until we can do our beach walk together when it's safe. Thank you so much for
and
for
I'd
sharing
love
your
to
time.
do a music therapy session with you, Sandra. Let's do it, okay?
Oh God, I need it. Yes, absolutely. Sign
All
me
right.
up. Juanita, thank you so much and blessings
Absolutely.
to you and enjoy the rest of the day.
You too. Thank you for having me, Sandra.